Yeah, it's getting interesting with Michael Johnson. Have you heard about the guy? I've been pounding the subject. I've been trying to stay on top of this story. Michael Johnson is the CEO of the GST. The debacle that has followed the story is not good financially. And according to the latest, the man is having major problems financially, able to meet what he had promised or he had asked the athletes that he's going to deliver. I've been very consistent about an overreach. I hope my inquisition here doesn't sound like I'm lynching Michael Johnson. That's how sarcastic it gets for me, but it's a very serious story because the seriousness of this story is caught by a front office sports channel that interviewed him a few days ago. And according to Michael Johnson, he's trapped financially because one of the investors failed to deliver on their promised funds. So there you have it. There's a chokehold on finances flowing from to Michael Johnson to the athletes. According to this report here, Michael Johnson had a commitment with an investor who had promised him initially that he's going to do some financial lifting of the whole GST. And right now, according to Michael Johnson, when he looks back, something went wrong. And the wrong didn't begin when LA was canceled, though he hinted to financial difficulties. But here is where Michael Johnson seems to give us an insight of what really happened. What happened to the train that seemed to be derailed and is off the tracks right now financially. Here I'm reading a quote here that there was a huge blow to us caused by major cash flow. Cash flow issues for us put us in a difficult position, put our athletes in difficult position. And by Michael Johnson continues, but we are very confident we'll pull ourselves out of it. According to this article, it says a Grand Slam debut in Kingston is where things started to look a little bit dark for them, where they say the investor planned to invest their money because of the President Donald Trump's tariffs announcement. It scared the investor in putting their money in this event. And so Michael Johnson continues to give us a background of where it all started, when it started to go wrong for him. I continue to read here something that is interesting that I hope gives me a clarity of why GST has collapsed, so to speak, in their first year. He says we've had, so Johnson admits to financial difficulties throughout the year, and then he talks of an investor not honoring and renegating on his commitment to the league. He calls the league, okay. And then he says that pressure has built on them not being able to pay the athletes. And then so, according to this article here, there was this investor, according to this article, that seems to have told Michael Johnson, we are going to do this for you. We are committed financially to do something for you. And of course, they pulled back or renegated and then left Michael Johnson exposed, hopefully with the dirty diapers, if I may use that phrase, or that punchline. And so what Michael Johnson is really telling us here is that he's in a financial hole and he cannot be able to meet or be able to pay the athletes. And according to this article, it all started quite early. When you're talking Jamaica, that was where it started. And Jamaica was a disaster. It was an empty stadium. And I think if you go back to my channel here, I was stunned on how the promises and the delivery were not matching, and how the artists were just being exposed to nothing. There was no fans. And this is where the problems began for me. That when we look back, according to this article, they owe a stadium in Florida, Miramar, $80,000. And it continues to say here that Michael Johnson is being quoted here as saying that we've been working very, very hard in the last couple of months to make sure that we can get everyone taken care of and make sure we can actually get to the next season. Listen, I don't know how you get to next season. I mean, I know the optimism, the enthusiasm of success is always what keeps you awake, but the enthusiasm should be tempered down. Unless the reality of the present reality is that Michael Johnson needs to solve this one here and now quickly. He says he's waking up every night thinking about how to make things right. Good for him. And I'm right here pounding the subject. Hopefully I'm not, did I say lynching? That was brutal. He's an African-American guy. You don't say lynching, do you? So I think for me, Michael Johnson is in a precarious. He's kind of in a very interesting place when you think about sports in per se. He's the face of success or the failure of it, no matter how you look at it. And when investors run away from you and you are left there standing with your pants down and you are financially almost naked, it's not a good day. And we live in a country whereby race can easily be played out. You know, you can say, hey, there goes another scam. There goes another Ponzi scheme led by Michael Johnson. I think his admission here bodes well with me. I think he's realized that there was a recklessness to this approach or too fast to this approach. I was very cautious when I started talking about this myself. He says, yeah, we probably went too fast. When asked about his biggest mistake, Michael said, we probably need to be more cautious. And certainly, we are going forward. Okay. And Johnson, of course, talks of the country's policies, the way the administration of Trump and the tariffs have affected the way the world engages economically and the seismic shift. Every time he throws tariffs around the world, it affects certain things. I'm not economically savvy, but that's the admission we are seeing here. And the investor saying, hey, things are not very good here for me, I'm getting out. And he gets out, leaving Michael Johnson exposed. So there you have it with the GST story. I'm following it closely. I'm waiting for the day. But I think for me, what worries me even more on this story is that I see that if things go from bad to worse for Michael Johnson, there's one thing I know about America historically. People just say I'm bankrupt. I can see Michael Johnson putting his arms up. I'm not going to jail. I'm not whatever. Listen, I'm not hoping it gets there. That's not really what I'm saying. But bankruptcy can be an escape for any business or anything that happens in this country. You can just declare, listen, I don't have money, I'm bankrupt. And that could be one way. I hope it doesn't, because it's not good for track and field or any event. I've seen this historically. I think there's been some people take too much. They take too much, they get excited about something, a project, they take a risk. And the risk involves money. So while it looks good on paper, is how do you follow that and make sure it delivers on the end product? And that's where problems began for Michael Johnson. I think he mentions here about a lot of volatility in the markets, the market being shaky and the investors just pulling out. He talks of the seismic shift in the economy and all that stuff with the tariffs. And honestly, it hasn't been good for businesses globally. And yes, that could be a reason, and that's what he's telling us right now. But I think for me, when I look back, I think he jumped in too soon. There was excitement after Olympics. We're going to create something else for American audience and North America. I was very hesitant to jump in myself. And I think some of these people who think they have great ideas, what I call the Silicon Valley bubble ideas. You know, people just get bubbly about things. And you remember the bubbles of .coms. Sometimes even in sports, this is where it happens. And I think you can jump in, and sometimes you have to be cautious. He jumped in too fast, and now we are seeing the ramifications or the consequences. It's not just him. but it's a sport and the athletes. Anyway, that was a story I'm following on. I'll keep you guys who are interested, and the comments are always there to see, am I being too hard on him? Am I just zooming in too deep? No. If you follow me, I've been very consistent in what I think and my opinion on this one. He overreached. He took a high risk, and he took too much of a risk, mostly with the athletes. And himself now has been exposed. If there's no money, investors are running away, what are you left with? Tuko riadha, my friend. Subscribers are always welcome. Welcome to those who are fans. You can be just sitting there and watching from the sidelines. I don't mind. But at least tell me you saw it. Okay, talk to you guys later, because Tuko riadha marches on with your host, none other than JKKC. You can fill the blanks, and you can always comment. What do you think of Michael Johnson?